Welcome back. We're here on League Unlock. Eric and Mark joining you guys today, and we're looking at coaches of the split in NA and EU. A lot of the time, this is not that interesting an award. It's usually just given to whichever team is in first place. But this year, at least in NA, it's got a juicy storyline. Early on in the split, everyone was calling for Reaper's head. Cut him from Cloud9, get him off, ban him from the NALCS. He should never coach League of Legends again. And then a few weeks later, he's probably going to get coach of the split.
And he really should get coach of the split here, but I want to say there is some deservedness there with people putting on that criticism to Reaper early, given what we didn't have really much of an explanation other than, oh, maybe they're not that motivated to scrim and solo queue and things like that, but we really got to see later on explaining the different system that they had in place of pairing up the jungler and mid laner, pairing those aggressive strategies, pairing someone who's a little bit more passive. I think that this was a wonderful idea here, and of course you got to give credit to the C9 players for executing it, but hey, we're talking about coach of the split, and it's gotta be Reaper.
I also want to give a little bit of shout out to the likes of St. Vicious as well on FlyQuest. Reapered, obviously the turnaround for Cloud9, absolutely incredible. The entire second half of the round robin, they just looked like an entirely different team. It was all his idea to be doing these roster swaps. He talked to Jack about it. Jack had the fullest confidence in him, which is also impressive that he wasn't scared when, you start 2-7. But so all that credit to him. But I also want to give a bit of a shout out to St. Vicious for getting FlyQuest into playoffs with a couple roster changes, but really the same core, and they looked miles better than they did last split.
Yeah, certainly an improvement over the spring split performance, so got to give them credit there, and I think that it is certainly definitely in part of what St. Vicious has done for this roster and as far as organizing them, and especially I want to say in that early game, organizing that FlyQuest squad, not an easy task, and it certainly has paid off for them.
Yeah, and St. Vicious is a very outspoken guy about when teams aren't that good. He said in an interview, it's probably because the general manager of the team put together a not good roster. So, he's very blunt about everything, and that's why we love Saint. It's not for his smites, it's because he's so blunt about everything. Over in EU, the coach of the split is a pretty much one-horse race at this point, and it's a familiar face for this award. Yamato Cannon, the man with the silkiest, smoothest voice.
Oh, yeah.
In the entire LCS, not just EU. He's responsible for bringing in Kikis. He decided that he was performing better than Gilius in their scrims, and obviously he looks like a genius because of it.
Yeah, and you got to say that, not too many moves going on in EU LCS this split, but so you got to say that this absolutely was the 200 IQ maneuver here by the coach to get his roster working.
Look at that shirt.
Oh, well,
wow.
We don't even want to start on the fashion sense that this dude has. It is killing the game out in the EU LCS. But when you're talking about his roster, they're also killing the game in the EU LCS because they've dominated since the change to getting Kikis onto this roster. And you got to give Yamato Cannon the credit there for recognizing that this was going to be the change to spark his roster.
Maybe a small shout out to Guihoto on Schalke for definitely redeeming themselves from an incredibly disappointing spring split, but Yamato is the clear front runner here for completely turning around Vitality season. Obviously, Kick is actually playing out of his mind, helps a lot as well, but Yamato made the decision, and obviously he's very involved with his team. They're a small example of how he acts on stage.
Yeah, Yamato definitely going to be going out to probably celebrate a dinner for our Coach of the Year award here, but you got to say, you got to be taking Kikis out as well for that dinner too.
Yeah, Kikis definitely shouldn't be paying for any more dinners for the entirety of the split for Vitality, but coaches usually don't get a whole lot of love. They just get the flame for bad drafts, but there's been some great moves in NA and EU, and a lot of coaching decisions have influenced the teams.